Shine your light now. This time it's got to be good. Get it back now, yeah. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. Hollywood. Hollywood.
What's going on, guys? On this episode of On the Set, I'm taking a look at Backrooms, a film based on a creepypasta about liminal spaces. The movie starts off with some guys in hazmat suits from a company called Async, who are navigating through what looks like endless office space. All of a sudden, something attacks them and it's alleged that one of them gets killed. After that, we meet Clark, the owner of a failing furniture store. He has his assistant manager, Kat, and her boyfriend, Bobby, helping to film a commercial for the store, which is extremely cheesy. The film takes place in the early 90s, so it definitely has that same vibe. Clark is dressed as a pirate because that's the theme of his store. We then learn that he's been sleeping at the store every night because his wife threw him out of the house for working late hours and drinking too much. Anyway, one night, the power in the store is faulty, so he goes down into the basement to check the breaker. When he gets down there, Clark finds a strange seam in the wall, and he ends up just walking straight through it. All of a sudden, he's in the Backrooms, or as Async calls it, the complex. It looks like a building that all of the furniture has been taken out of, and it just has endless rooms that go on forever. There's some weird slopes and doors that lead to nothing. Anyway, he walks around for a bit and goes deeper in, intrigued by what area this could be. There's a stack of furniture and some random street signs in various spots, some of which are merged to the ground. Pretty much just a bunch of objects all over the place. After that, he goes back to his therapist, Mary, who Clark's been seeing for a while now. He tells Mary about the Backrooms, but of course, she doesn't believe a word of it. Then, Clark enlists the help of Kat and Bobby to go into the Backrooms with a camera to film proof of its existence. As to be expected, though, this goes horribly wrong. Clark ties Bobby off with a rope and sends him down a steep hallway into a dark room. This room has mounds of clothing everywhere, and everything is in disarray. Out of nowhere, something attacks Bobby and severs the rope. Well, he's dead. When the other two finally make it down to the dark room, Bobby is gone. Sometime later, bills have started to pile up at the front entrance of the store. And Mary hasn't heard from Clark in quite a while. So she goes to the store to look for him. Throughout the film, we learn that Mary too has her share of trauma from her childhood, growing up with a strict abusive mother. She heads down into the basement of the store and ends up in the Backrooms. There, she stumbles upon Clark, who at this point looks a bit off. There's no telling how long he's been in there. When she approaches him, he knocks her out and ties her to a chair in some kind of kitchen area. Here, we learn that the Backrooms tries to replicate people's memories, or something like that. There's also these two people sitting around the table, but they're not actually people. They're just the Backrooms' imitation of what it thinks a person is. And they're called still lifes. Anyway, one of the still lifes in particular is a red-headed woman standing in the corner, who is apparently Clark's ex-wife. Like I said, at this point, Clark has been in the Backrooms for an unspecified amount of time, and he's clearly lost it. Then he starts talking about how things are actually better in there, and he proceeds to rip open the stomach of one of the still lifes, saying that they're actually edible. Yeah, no, I'm full, no thanks. Seeing this, Mary starts to panic even more, especially when a giant entity walks in the room, which is a tall, twisted version of Pirate Clark. At first, this entity seems docile, until it picks up Clark and takes a bite out of him, killing him. Mary gets free and flees deeper into the Backrooms as Pirate Clark chases after her. She finds her way into a replica of the furniture store lobby, where she has a standoff against Pirate Clark. Somehow, she's able to escape through a narrow passage and falls right into a room full of Async employees wearing hazmat suits. Then, Mary's taken into a room and is interrogated by an employee named Phil. He tells her that Async originally started off as an MRI machine company, until they discovered the Backrooms and wanted to learn more. Mary asks him if she's going to be let go, and he's pretty vague about it. Just then, in the Backrooms, we see a still-life version of Mary sitting silently. The end. Alright, well, this was pretty good. It seems like the Backrooms just copies whatever's around it. Like all those chairs and furniture and stuff probably were copies of stuff from his store. Aside from Clark's wife, those other still-life characters were probably just customers that were in the store at some point. There's a lot of fan theory saying that Pirate Clark was actually the real Clark, but I doubt that. And Mary, well, I guess it's safe to say Async is not going to let her go. Anyway, this is a pretty good adaptation of the creepypasta for sure. Hopefully soon, we'll get a sequel. And that was the Backrooms. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.